Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. I have got into JDM watches in a big way over the last couple of years. The biggest Japanese brands, so Orient, Seiko, Citizen and Casio, all make amazing watches, but they do tend to keep some of the best for themselves. They have entire ranges of watches that don't make it beyond their domestic borders because the companies in question, I guess, feel like there isn't a sufficient market for them overseas, or they prefer to concentrate on other lines abroad. Whatever. That's beginning to change a bit now though, and certain previous Japan-only models are beginning to appear in distributors overseas. Now personally, I have gone from the very top to the very bottom of the Casio Oceanus range, but until this point anyway, I haven't tried one of their Japan-only lineage models. Now these are apparently some of the very best-selling watches in Japan. Full of tech, super sensible and fantastic value for money. So they have great on-paper appeal. But does that translate to great on-wrist appeal? That is what we're here to find out today. Big shout out to my friend Jason over in Western Australia. He picked up one of these lineage models and then shipped it straight here to me in Sydney. Thank you again, Jason. He's loaned me a bunch of stuff in the past as well. And he has watches in his personal collection from $50 to $10,000. So he's well placed to pick a winner. Has he picked one today? Let's flip the camera and find out. Okay, so I thought I would do this one unboxing style today. I have had this watch out of the box though. I have had a good look at it, a good play around with it, and a good look at the module. I would not take on a Casio and a Digi without a good look at the module. The module is 5161, by the way. This is not the only watch that is available from Casio containing that module. Hang on to that thought. I will circle back to that a bit later on. I'll give you a choice between Casios. Leave me a comment which of them do you prefer. That is the model number, the model reference for this one. As always, thanks Casio. Nice and catchy. I haven't seen one of these boxes before, by the way. Casio seem to be revamping a lot of their packaging. I don't mind it at all. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this one unboxing style is because this Casio does a clever little trick when you take it out of the packet. Let's see if it will do it for us all this time. Yeah, there we go. Expose it to a bit of light and yeah, the hands go to the set position. This has a tough solar module. That 5161 module is solar powered. It has an energy saving feature. If you put this one in a watch box or a drawer for an hour or more, the hands will reset all the way back up to the 12 o'clock. It does it every night as well, by the way, between midnight and about 6-7 in the morning. Even if you are using this one regularly, when you expose it to light again, as I am doing now in my studio lights, it will zip back to the right time. There we go. A nice little feature from these Lineage and other Casio models. And there is the watch, or should I say there is Jason's watch. So this is an Ana-Digi. Primarily this is an analog watch. The main way of reading the time on this one, the home time anyway, is using the 3 traditional central hands. However, it does have the advantage of a several line negative LCD display down at the bottom there, meaning this watch can utilize a whole bunch of digital features as well. So is this going to be useful to you? That's the question. The answer lies within that digital display. What features does it have and are you going to use them? Well, what features does it have? Thankfully, Casio lists those features in a handy little hang tag. So they call this a wave scepter. That means it is radio controlled. If you are in the UK, the USA, Japan, China and most of mainland Europe, this watch will automatically self-adjust to the right time by the atomic clock several times a day. It is solar powered, which is useful wherever you are in the world. World time function, stopwatch and timer, alarm and LED light. Now those are only features you will get from an Ana-Digi. That is where this one comes into its own. Okay, I did say I had a tinker with it but not sized it, so let's get it sized and come back and have a play around with the module. Okay, I'm back. That didn't take too long. It wasn't too painful either to size this thing up. Pin and collar system, but at least it's a central collar rather than one of those collars in the side links, which is a fiddly nightmare. So let's talk dimensions. Great set of dimensions if you're going to wear this one as a daily, which is exactly what this Lineage is for. 39.4 mil in diameter, but only 9.4 mil thick. Should that be 9.4 mil thin because of the quartz module? 46 lug to lug though is okay. 20mm lug width is also pretty good. It's standard. You can swap this one out for leather or rubber or whatever if you want. Bit of a taper down to 18, back up to 19 at the clasp. Sized up for me, I had to remove 3 links in total, 110 grams. That is a great set of dimensions overall. Flat sapphire crystal. No anti-reflective undercoating, 50 meters of water resistance, which is just okay. I would have preferred 100, and as discussed already, it is a Casio module 5161 in the back. And while we're on the subject, let's look at the case back, because this case back is glorious. I've seen case backs adorned with spec sheets, but then there's this. A total of 29 words plus various other numbers and symbols on this one, detailing everything that the watch does, from its 5 alarms and its sapphire crystal to its tough solar movement, and there's even a guide as to what each of those 3 pushers do. Just fantastic. Screwed on, 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Perhaps that's the reason why it only has 5 bar of water resistance and not 10 bar of water resistance though. So clearly then, no crown. 3 pushers, but no crown operating the movement. It's a little more complex than just pulling it out and adjusting the time. Nice selection of finishes though. A vertical brush in the mid case, circular brush to the upper lug surfaces, and a 2-step high polished bezel. You've seen the case back already. Kind of female end links, they are slightly inverted, helping with wear. Now those links are not rolled. I have checked for creases, I have checked for seam. They are solid enough links, but the clasp, yeah, not so fantastic. Only 1 hole of micro adjust. That gives you what, 3mm of adjustment, and they're decent sized links as well. And the clasp itself, hey, it's got Lineage and Casio stamped into it, but it's a pressed upper, pressed lower, yeah. Definitely, I don't need to get too much further in this video, do I, to realise that the bracelet and clasp are the weak point of this particular Casio Lineage. So we now know exactly what this watch does thanks to the etchings on the case back. How does it do all of that using only 3 buttons? Well, this is the home time. If you're in home time, bottom right cycles through a couple of different features on the LCD screen. At the moment, we have a ticking second hand in digital form replicating the ticking central second hand. 1 more and it just duplicates the time. Now this is useful. Leave it in this one after dark. The watch does feature some lume. Casio use Neo Bright on all of their models. If I speed it up though, the lume doesn't last all that long. You've probably got a couple of hours in reality overnight, so you are going to be relying on the light. 1 push of that top right pusher operates a single orange LED at the bottom of the dial, which does a reasonable job of illuminating most of the dial. And if you have the LCD display set to replicate the time on the hands, you've got twice the chances of getting a decent read after dark when you press the button. Now multiband 6, as discussed, this one will receive the time automatically. It will update itself automatically from the atomic clock if you live in the zone. You can do that manually. Press the button bottom right for a couple of seconds, it goes into receive mode, RC receive mode. Here in Australia, I'm not going to receive much, so it will not pick up anything. We are stuck with the plus or minus 15 seconds per day accuracy that you get from that module 5161. Alright, modes then. Press that once, it gives you a battery level indicator, mid. Keep that in mid or high. This one's box fresh, so it hasn't seen much light as yet. Once it gets into low or danger, it will start to reduce the functionality of the watch, so try and keep it topped up. If you can, it will hibernate if it gets really low though. Next push and you're into world time mode. So the time in London at the moment is 5:11. You can cycle through the various cities that are available. Next push of the pusher and you're into alarm mode. 5 alarms are available. All can be adjusted independently, and as you saw there, you can set a signal on or off to beep on an hourly chime. Next up, stopwatch. Bottom right again, start, stop. Now if you press the top right, it will show you the tenth, so that's 2.4 seconds. Hold it down again to reset. 1 more push and you're into a countdown timer. 1 more push from that and you're back into the home time. So you have got some of the features, quite a lot of the features of a digital module, still in a primarily analog case format. Not massively easy to use though, the buttons have got quite a lot of resistance and the screen isn't huge, and it doesn't have the Bluetooth Connect app, so you can't set the alarms, etc., the world time, etc., from an accompanying app on your phone. So yeah, plenty of features, but you are going to have to work hard if you want to get the best out of this one. On wrist though, that excellent set of dimensions does translate to a very pleasant on wrist wearing experience. 110 grams is a cracking weight for a daily. Now, as you can see, I have adjusted this one loose. I don't really have much option because of the minimal number of micro adjust positions in the clasp. And legibility is actually okay. It's a fairly sizable handset. They are silver with central loom sections against a grey-black center with sunburst and a blue outer chapter ring. So yeah, the legibility is actually surprisingly good from most angles with this one. Alright, I've just switched over to the macro lens. Let's have a brief look at the dial and hands up close under the macro lens before I start complaining about this particular lineage. Interesting arrangement here. The indices are attached to an outer chapter ring. They're then kind of cantilevered. They float over the main dial section. Main dial section has got a sector pattern printed on it. Now Casio are better than Seiko at this. That is a photovoltaic cell underneath there, but you would be hard pushed to tell at all. There's no ghosting, you can't really see what's going on. And it's a decent handset considering this is an affordable watch, not too many rough edges there at all, and they are a good size. And they haven't overprinted the dial. The spec sheets on the case back, they don't need to today, so just Casio lineage, multiband 6 and tough solar at the bottom there. World time and received, again that just tells you some of the features of the module. Not sure about the grey sunburst with that blue though. Grey and blue, not really a classic colour combination, is it? But I guess it must have appealed to Jason because this is the one he chose, and there are plenty of other options available in this lineage line. Pros and cons then. Pros, sapphire crystal, which is fantastic for a daily. Great set of dimensions for a daily as well. Nice and light. And you have the practicalities of solar, set and forget timekeeping if you live within an atomic clock zone. Plus the added benefits of stopwatch, alarm, countdown timer and world time functions. Cons, only 50 meters of water resistance, not quite forget about it. And the bracelet, not fantastic. A little bit squeaky. The squeak should probably dissipate though, but it's still going to be a bit cheap, and not much micro adjustment here at all because of that rather poor clasp. So I said I'd circle back to the module then. This is the model that Jason bought. Yours for around $250 USD. I'll leave an eBay link in the description of the video. However, if you're not fixated on the Arabics at 12 and 6 and you don't need a negative LCD display, you can get pretty much the same watch for around $160 US. However, if you want the atomic solar timekeeping but you're not bothered about sapphire crystal or a stainless case, you can get the same module in one of these Waveceptor models for around $75 US. Or if you can spend a bit more and do without the digital component of the watch, you can get an Oceanus. Just fabulous standard of finishing on this one, the T200, for around $360 US. So then, what would you go for if it was your money? If you were buying a watch, would you pick one of the two lineage models? Would you go cheaper than that and get a Waveceptor? Or would you spend a little bit more and pick up the full-blown JDM Oceanus instead? I think it might be a bit of a tough sell then, this lineage model, when there is such strong internal competition from Casio themselves just to the north and just to the south of this one in terms of price. It still makes sense as a comfortable set and forget daily, but there are plenty of other watches doing a similar job to this one. So there you have it. I love this style of ani-digi Japanese watch. Analog looks, but with digital features in a truly set and forget package that will last for decades. This one definitely had a couple of compromises though, most of them centered on the bracelet. It's my first encounter with the lineage line, but definitely won't be my last. If you've made it to the end of one JDM Casio video, I've got two more lined up for you to choose from. Thanks for watching, I'll see you again soon.